What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Last week we had F1 2020 to showcase to you guys, and this week we have DiRT 5, which is absolutely insane. Massive thank you to Codemasters for sending me out a code to show you guys this game. So DiRT 5, this is a very early preview build. The game is set to come out in October the 9th, I believe. So in terms of like getting access to gameplay, this is very, very early on. So yeah, bear that in mind. It is work in progress, as you can see in the top left. So we've got this demo build of the game. We can have a go at 4 different locations in this build. What are they? China, Brazil, Norway, and Arizona. The one that we're on today is Norway. And we're going to see some pretty dramatic weather changes. And that is a big feature of this title, DiRT 5. So what you'll see later on as we progress through this race is we'll start to see a bit of a snowstorm come into effect. And in the course of 3 laps, it just changes dramatically. It's pretty insane. And the visuals that you see, I really, really like. It reminds me of, what was the game that we used to play on the old PlayStation 3? No, PlayStation 4 was the early days. It was Drive Club. Drive Club had amazing visuals, and this game kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, here we are in the Rallycross class. DiRT 5, they actually categorize it as Ultra Cross. It is their amplified version of Rallycross, and as you guys know from some other dirt racing titles by Codemasters, I am a massive fan of anything Rallycross, so get me involved in this stuff. We're in a 90s Mitsubishi Lancer, and we're getting bullied around by other Lancers and Subarus. That thing in front of us is a Ford Escort Cosworth RS, I think. It reminds me of the same cars we had in Bathurst that were dominating in the early 90s, I believe. Absolute cheats. Anyway, not salty as a Holden fan. Back to DiRT 5, and I'm just cycling through all the different camera angles and just kind of getting a feel for this game in my very first race here. So just bear that in mind. I'm not going to be amazing on my first shout. I'm actually on the controller as well, 3 wide, getting squeezed or pinched on the apex by those 2 on my inside. But we managed to squeak on through for P4. Massive gains in a straight line relative to the top 3. Here's a cheeky little jump. Oh my god, I forgot about that. We actually landed on that guy's roof. So that is literally an overtake to behold. But now you'll notice the weather start to come in as we're just absolutely pinballing off of the Lancers here for the lead of this race. I was actually struggling to get to the lead of this one. Just constantly getting caught up in the AI. The AI are not final, by the way. A lot of this isn't final. That being, still 3 months away from the game's release. But now you can see, yeah, the snow is really coming in now. It's gone from daytime to pretty much nighttime in a very short space of time, and now the snow particles are absolutely everywhere. And I've got to say, as an Australian, this is not familiar territory. I mean, up until moving to the UK, I had never raced in the rain before in go-karting, so that was an experience. But now here we are in the snow, and I've got to say, it absolutely terrifies me. And if you think that's bad, it's going to start storming in just any second now. Right on cue. Here's the game sound. So yeah, it's a pretty immersive experience, I've got to say. The visuals are stunning. The audio is really good. I love the crisp sound of the backfires of the engine. The engine sounds quite nice, to be honest. And then we've got the thunder in the background to just add to the theatre of this race. Big lightning strike off in the distance. This is wow. Codemasters, you're pulling out all the stops here in my first race, and I've got to say, you're delivering. I really am enjoying this experience. I'm literally having to find my way around this circuit. I'm just feeling my way through, a bit like Braille, I guess. And it's, I think this was really putting me off here on this last lap, and possibly why I wasn't challenging for the win. But we're coming up to the end of the race now. It's P5 at the moment. We're going to see if we can dive up the insides, shortchange someone. But no, it was P5 in the end there. Quick little race, and a very enjoyable one nonetheless. 2 seconds off the win, and we're P5. That is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to move on to another race now, and again, the visuals. This next track that we go to, I actually really enjoy. I feel like the design of the map is absolutely stunning as we leave the thunderstorm in our wake. We are now off to Brazil for a game mode which is called Stampede. It's basically extreme terrain and big jumps, as Codemasters categorize it in their press release. And we're racing in the X-Cross Raid car category. So this is a bit of a favorite of mine. I really enjoy the I guess the track design, if you could call it that. It's absolutely awesome. Just the undulation, the character, there's jumps. There's like a rickety bridge that's broken. There it is, right on cue. Above you, which you have to fly over at some point. And you might have seen even in the intro clip, someone literally barrel rolling over the top of me in, I think, the super light class. Which is something we can do in another video. If you guys want to see that, we can check out those cars. But in this one, we're in the big chunky boys. This car kind of reminds me of like a Rhino. It's just an absolute weapon. So much power, so much grunt, and very heavy. You don't want to run into this thing in a dark alley or try to stop it from getting where it wants to go, because, well, you're not going to stop it. Anyway, this is a pretty shoddy first lap for me here. I was leading. This category was a little bit easier to dominate the AI in, and so I had to kind of wait up for everyone. Again, work in progress. Am I right? Anyway, we got some terrain off to the left which we can fall off of, fall off that mountain. Speaking of which, you do not want to get that wrong, otherwise you are entering the Shadow Realm, where Super GT will happily greet you for an unlimited stay. Anyway, third place. That is a lap of this Brazil circuit. I reckon they should host the Brazilian Grand Prix here for F1. Why not? We're experimenting with potential double-header races. We'll go to Interlagos 1 week, and then next week, let's race in the dunes. Why not? Let's chuck some dirt tires on Formula 1 cars. Liberty Media, make it happen. But then again, I'm going to let you guys listen to the game sound, because this car sounds very meaty. You know what I get out of this car? I almost get like Mercedes V8 bi-turbo kind of vibes. Yeah, it's quite nice. Here we go, over the jump again. Let's have a look from the side. Oh yeah, and we're actually flying in midair for a lot longer than what you probably should be in a car that's this heavy and this powerful. It's very scary. Back to the handling, which is something I haven't really talked about. The cars which we were in at the start of the video, they were quite, you know, nimble, they were quite light. This car is quite lethargic, to be honest. It takes a bit of notice to get around some corners. When you do get into a slide, I find that correcting it, there's a bit of a delay, and I thought that was a characteristic of the handling model, but no, it's just this car. It is a big boy. We absolutely fly over some boulders and some fencing. You don't want to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. On the pad, I'm able to pick it up and play pretty quickly. I think in this race, I've lowered the traction control, I've lowered like ABS and stuff. I am running auto gears so far, but I think I'm pretty confident in switching everything off. I wanted to make the AI a little bit more difficult in this car class, but I couldn't. I guess the difficulty is just locked to whatever it's on. But if you guys want to see a future video on this, I'll crank out the wheel and we can jump in some other class of cars. There are actually some sprint cars which have something like 900 odd horsepower, and I tried it on the pad with low traction control, and I've got to say it was nigh on impossible. So I think I'm gonna need the hand-eye coordination of my trusty wheel and pedals to be able to maneuver those cars, because me on a pad, it was not working. But these cars pretty easy to handle, and yeah, we made full use of that P1, and that is my first little gameplay of Dirt 5, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Once again, thank you to Codemasters for sending me a code to showcase this game for you guys, and yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content.